Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football's Sooner Magic podcast. And Norman's here for everybody to see. Get down. You got to get down. All right. So welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins. If you love college football, especially Oklahoma football, you're definitely in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment. Hall of Fame College Football. Yeah, it doesn't take very long to prove my point. I didn't even get here yet, and we got a clown like this. Have a brain. This is what I'm talking about, folks. This is what I'm talking about. Brent Venables signs an extension, keeping him in Norman for a few more years. And this is what happens. Texas fans get shook. You know why? For this very reason. They're saying they're not afraid, but they've been panning it and talking trash ever since it happened today. And I think it's pretty clear why, folks. It's just absolutely clear why. Listen, 10 wins in his second season. This is a number that it took Steve Sarkisian 10 years to reach, okay, in his second season. A higher trajectory in both seasons for Oklahoma and Brent Venables than what you saw in the first 2 years for Steve Sarkisian, who went 5-7 and then turned around and went 8-5 in the second year. They were still gagging up freaking games. 5 of them, lost their bowl game to Washington with Bijan Robinson, with Roschon. Pretty simple. Bottom line is, and you can come in here running your mouth if you want to. But what Brent Venables had to take over was not the same thing that Texas had that Sark took over at Texas. Not even kind of close. He flips it around, and in year 2 goes 10-3. And they are recruiting at the top in a way that Lincoln Riley never, ever did. Guaranteed, this is what has Texas fans down in Austin shook over it, because they know that once Venables turns this into the defenses that he had at Clemson circa 2016 to 2020, they're fucked. That's all there is to it. They're getting trench guys. They're getting the guys they need to get on the offensive line, the defensive line, and the secondary, all around the defense, something that Lincoln Riley in his soft as baby shit ways could never do and never was going to do. And he's not doing it now. Pretty simple. Keep talking. You're a freaking Rutgers fan. Shush. Shush. 16-10 would make you so freaking giddy. Get out of here. With what and that's exactly right, Mars. Exactly right. He had very little to work with. The guys that are left right now, plus maybe Marvin Mims and then Dylan Gabriel, whenever they brought them in, we're talking about the one transfer quarterback that was able to play and could do anything for you. Dylan Gabriel. You had guys like Stutzman, guys like obviously Billy Bowman, but look, they had no idea what was going on in this defense. They were having to relearn how to do everything instead of the old way that they were doing with Alex Grinch and Lincoln. They had to get them stronger in the strength and conditioning program. These are all the things that we were talking about last night that they weren't doing, that they're not doing at USC. They've got the strength and conditioning coach that does Taibo or yoga. They're not able to recruit defensive studs. They're just not able to do it. Nobody was going to go to Oklahoma as long as Lincoln and that crew were there. That's all there is to it. So you have to come in, and as I said before, you rip it back to the studs and start over fresh. Yes, they go 6-7 in year one. Yes, they go 6-7 in year one. Could have been worse. If Dylan Gabriel's hurt for any longer than he is, it's worse. But 5 of those losses were by 1 score, 4 of them by 3 points. It's still a loss. A loss is a loss. Fine. Go to year 2. You can look at some of the metrics. You can cherry pick defensive metrics all you want to. But the truth is, in the red zone, they were one of the best in the country. Ask Texas on the goal line in the Red River game. 4 straight times from 1 yard out, they couldn't get in. They were great there. They led the country, or were number 2 in the country in turnovers, in forcing turnovers. Billy Bowman led the country in interceptions and pick sixes. You can cherry pick these little things that happen whenever the depth was the issue in year 2. Year 3, they've added more depth. The younger guys that weren't able to really contribute a ton for you last year are expected to turn it around. If you see what Brent Venables does in year 3, everywhere else he's been, expect this to be one of the best defenses in the country in 2024. And they just continue to get guys that are out of this world when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. They've already done more on the recruiting side. Think about the defensive side of this thing. You've already got 3 5-star guys that he's recruited in here. PJ Adebawari, David Stone, Peyton Bowen. Jaden Jackson probably should have been a 5-star. Nigel Smith probably should have been a 5-star. Danny Okoye probably should have been a 5-star. It doesn't really matter whether they were or they're not. We know what they're about to do. Caden Woolard. They've got guys through the transfer portal, Dominic Williams. You've got Danny Stutzman, who's about to come in here and he's automatically up for the Butkus Award. Same with when you start looking at the secondary, not only do you have Billy Bowman coming back, who is going to be up for the Thorpe Award, but would you be that surprised if Peyton Bowen wasn't too and wasn't an All-American type? Samuel Omosigo, Lewis Carter, Deshaun McCullough, Ethan Downs. The list goes on. This is a real deal defense now. It's deep. It's 3 deep at the 2 main positions on the interior of that defensive line, which is something we haven't seen probably ever. Probably ever. You want to know why they gave him an extension? Because they wanted him to know, and they wanted the entire freaking rest of the world to know, and the league, that he's not going anywhere. That all this slander that everybody like Texas fans love to throw out there about Brent Venables, and look, I said it before, I'll say it again. Why do you think Nick Saban tried to hire Jeff Lebby after year 1? Why do you think that Kirby did the same? I'll tell you why. Because they knew that if they could cut one of his legs out from under him before he got his defense in order, chances are he doesn't make it to year 3. Certainly not year 4. Right? If that happens, they don't have to worry about Brent Venables. And if you're Nick Saban at that time, you know that you lost 2 national championship games to his defenses. Guess what? They're also still recruiting very, very well on offense. Right up there with Sark and the boys down in Texas. And better than Lincoln Riley, Mr. Offensive Mastermind himself. And guess what? Yeah, you know what, Michael? Even in year 2, the team was strip mined. BV won 10 games and beat Texas. Yeah, they did. So, the guy jumps in here, that knucklehead that jumps in here. Loved it. Oh, did he come in here and take it out? That's hilarious. I love it. Oh, no, sports masochist. Not a single Texas fan who gives a shit or is scared. I really wish this hadn't popped up on my algorithm. Have a brain. I got a brain, bro. This is reality. Let's just be real about things. The contract extension, I love it too, Jen. I'll tell you something. And I loved it even more. The more I sit here and look on Twitter and see how many Texas fans are screaming about it, telling everybody how bad he is and how stupid this is. That this is nothing more than proof of how freaking completely shitting down their leg they are. They know what's about to happen. They couldn't beat him before he got his defense completely put together. Guess what? That starts this year. And whatever happens this year, this is a great thing for everybody to know that he's not going to be on the hot seat. What is Shardy always asking? How long has he got? How long has he got? How long are they going to give him? They're going to give him time. They're going to give him time to build this thing. Yet, you think that Joe Castiglione doesn't realize that this schedule, and I mean, listen, you hear it from everybody. This is why Oklahoma can't be the best Red River team to enter the league this year, because this schedule is brutal. I'm going to call it brutal with Alabama. I'm going to call the Tennessee game. Yeah, it is what it is. Those are home games. You could win them. The LSU road game, yeah, whether they're really good or not, that's a tough place to go win. Probably the toughest place in the country to win on the road. Apparently, it's like that at Auburn. Brinsky will tell you that all day. Look, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy. If they were to go 8-4, he's still not going to get fired. He's still not going to enter the next year on the hot seat. Now, I've already told you that I think that 10-2 is reasonable. I think at worst 9-3 is probably what happens, unless you have a lot of stuff that happens bad, right? The fact is they got to go out there and prove that they can win on the road in the SEC, and they do have to go up against a lot of top 25 teams, and we're going to find out what they're made of in year 3. Year 4 has always been the year that 2025 has been the year that I've always thought they're going to be their best team. Whatever they do this year, I think they'll even be better next year. And it stands to reason. Yeah, 7-5. Get out of here. Get out of here. It's not close, Sooner Cowboys. It's not happening. No. Yeah, I get it. Well, on 3, yeah, they a day later and on 3 still sucks. Stinkers Cat. Welcome into the show. I'm going to say hello to everybody. Sooner Cowboys, Bishop Frank, keep chopping. Thanks for coming in. Eric Reheard. Let's see who else we got. Mars Jams, Robbie Martin, Michael. Is it Deesh? Is that how you say your name? Did I say it even close to right? Just say yes or no. I'll figure it out if not. Mars Jams. Let's see who else we got. Robbie, what's up, man? Sports Masochist, welcome in. I'm so glad that you popped in on us to let us know. I'm in. All right, cool. I'm glad I got that right. I hate to get people's name wrong. Yeah. Which SC? OU has a better record than Southern Cal, and you know this, Bumbo. Come on, brother. Come on. Aren't you freaking out right now too? Hey, listen. This I gotta say is much. Hey, T Boomer, my man. Hey, man. One more time, I want to say again, I'm so excited for you and the family, for your wife to have been able to get through all that stuff, man. That's awesome stuff, man. Great. I got to say this, though, about Lincoln and the crew. We can talk smack about him all day long, and we're never going to love Lincoln Riley out here. But I got to say one more time, this is the best thing that could have happened to Oklahoma, period, plain and simple. There's no two ways around it. You're seeing exactly what's going on, what was happening at Oklahoma. It was known by the time, even with the trips to the playoff, it was known what these teams were, and it just wasn't going to be it. It wasn't going to be enough. They were never going to get those guys. And if they did, it was weird. It's like Coop was saying the other day. It was weird when you get a guy that comes in and instead of going to somewhere like Alabama, it's like, so he's afraid of competition. You know, it is what it is. But all I'm saying is that there's no two ways around it. Oklahoma did the right thing. And you got to give him the amount of time that he really needs. You really do. Right? It's got to be that way. Yeah. Yeah, well, this is 90% of fans aren't Oklahoma fans, they'll keep chopping. You got to understand this. And especially, I got to tell you, when you lose like that in the playoff, and I mean, we're talking ass whippings. You think that's special? That's not fun. That's not fun. You get humiliated in front of the world. You know? Didn't take anybody from the defense when he left. Freaking great point. Hey, look at this stink-ass cat with a big one. No one has any right to criticize OU fans for hating Tebow. Most of the nation doesn't know the whole story. I would agree with that. I think that, and a lot of SC fans do know the story. It's out there. They knew about the coach that was recruiting to SC while they were still at OU. It was out there. It was out there. But no, I mean, I think that some of that stuff is still look, and you know why? Because Oklahoma, it doesn't look great on Oklahoma that they didn't catch all of it either. That they didn't know what the hell was going on. And I'll tell you another thing. It didn't look great on the Oklahoma media either to not hold his feet to the fire when he hauled ass out. And supposedly he was down in Baton Rouge. More than likely he was actually in LA or meeting with the folks from LA somewhere. But when he missed his press conference and then he gets back and he gets back to town and they ask him what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And all he says is, hey, I'm the head coach at Oklahoma. Until you're not. What the hell does that mean? But they didn't even ask him follow-up questions. Nobody really held his feet to the fire. They were scared of him. That last press conference, they were tippy-toeing around him with the questions that they were asking. And when Kerry started asking him the question about, basically he was kind of tiptoeing around the LSU question. And he shut it down and said, I'm not going to LSU. Yeah, there's a lot to it. But Lincoln had a lot of power by that time. And he had it shut down. He was not hearing it from people, and they weren't holding his feet to the fire on it. I've been blown away by the amount of people that have come at Venables the way they have. I mean, in the media, around Oklahoma, everywhere, they go after Brent Venables. He's been a part of championship teams. Lincoln never has. He's won some conference championships in a watered-down Big 12. You know it. You know it does. You know it is. You know it. And I've just said why. If you can go back and listen to it, or I'll just repeat it again. The reason why is because his trajectory is on the way up, and no matter what, they're going to give him enough time to build that defense into the monster that's going to send Texas right back to mid. And that's what you're going to be. You know this, bro. You cannot tell me that the team coming back for Texas is as good as the team that didn't get it done last year and didn't beat Oklahoma in the process. I know everybody wants to give you guys all the love, but this proves that they get it, that what's going on in Oklahoma right now is it's headed in a direction that it was never, ever going to be headed in under Lincoln Riley. Never. And all you got to do is look at Twitter, and it'll tell you exactly why all these Texas fans are. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but you know damn good and well how some of you fans are down there, Des. You do know. Absolutely. Absolutely facts. Yeah, they're saying he's not a top. Why do you think that they say that, though? Why do you think that they say that, Sooner Cowboys? Because he hasn't been it's easy to do. He hasn't been a head coach for very long. He had to take over that narrative of he took over an 11-2 program that was doing blah, 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 blah. They were so good when Lincoln left him a great program. He left him a program minus 2 5-star quarterbacks on the roster. They were able to go and get Dylan Gabriel, but what did they have behind him? I'm pretty sure that we noticed in the TCU and Texas game, not much. Completely lazy narrative. There was no, I mean, look, and thank you to Colin Cowherd for pushing that one out there. You heard all that shit. Are you talking between LA? Are you talking Kalen DeBoer? Wait a minute. Is that what you're saying? It is, though. It's a completely lazy narrative because they weren't. This is not this. It was not the same. Oh, Kevin Durant. Oh, dude. Absolutely. Yeah, KD. That KD. Fuck KD. Another Longhorn. Yeah, Kevin Durant. I got you. My man. Love it. That's good stuff. Absolutely. But yes, and look, I'm not saying it's an easy thing, and I'm not saying that he's already arrived either. But what he has shown since he got here is that he can take. He's doing what he said he was going to do. He never promised you that you were going to win a national championship in 2 years. He never did that. He never said it in 3 years. He said, we're going to rip it back to the studs and build this thing into what can win big. But it has to go we have to rip it, tear it down. It has to break. I said that before. It had to break. All those years that you're getting 10 wins, 11 wins. Yes, you're winning the trash-ass Big 12 that Texas wasn't even a big part of. I mean, seriously, looking at the Texas record from 2009 on, they had 2 years when they won over 10 games. 2. Okay, yeah, you lost the top. Well, he saved it to a top 10 recruiting class, though, right? But we're talking about, yes, you lost a quarterback out of that deal. You lost, well, there's a freaking receiver, a receiver and returner out there at SC right now that anybody in the country would love to have, right? Anybody in the country would love to have. And listen, that's all well and good. And because here's the thing, he's starting to lose those guys too. Juju Lewis is about to be out the door, and for all signs point to him going to freaking Auburn. He's going to choose Auburn over Lincoln Riley and USC. This is a bad sign for Lincoln. And it goes to show you that all this narrative that's been out there for the last 3 years now has been trash. Why? Because you've got these narratives, David, and they have the easier schedule. They're playing Mississippi State while Oklahoma plays Ole Miss, a top 5 team in the country. They're playing Vanderbilt while Oklahoma plays Mizzou. another top 10 team in the country. Everybody seems to thinks Mizzou is going to go to the playoff. Shit. And then Oklahoma gets an Alabama team that's going to have an offense that's probably 10 times better than the offense they put on the field last year. They're questionable on defense. They've got talent on defense, but we got to see what Womack can do there. We got to see it. But it's still Alabama, folks. It's still the number one. It's still the number one talent roster in the country, period. Plain and simple. It's still Alabama. Thankfully, you get them at home. You get Tennessee. They won 9 games last year. Get them at home. They've got a hell of a quarterback in Nico Iamaleava. Love that kid. I think he's going to be unbelievably good. I love Josh. I think he's doing a great job. He's doing what nobody's done at Tennessee in freaking 2 decades. And came into a shitstorm when he got there. They're not a pushover team. They're not. I know Coop and Jay want to tell you they're not going to be very good. They'll beat them. And I think they win. I just don't think it's going to be that easy. I'm more concerned about Tennessee than I am Ole Miss or Mizzou. I am. Yeah. My man. Big Bog 80. Big Mike Boganowski. My man. Welcome in. Why is SEC? Why is everybody having a meltdown? It's absolutely, it's unequivocal. This is why. All of this thought that you were going to see Venables fall on his face before he put his team on the field, his team fully on the field, has now just evaporated. The hope that they had that they were going to be able to get him out of here before he got his program on the field just evaporated. They're going to give him the time. It doesn't even matter what the raise was. It's more time. They're giving it. Bottom line is they'll have to pay him every dollar. They were already going to have to pay him every dollar but he still had 3 years left pretty much. And they just added 2 more to it. You just reloaded it. It restarted today. 5 years. Not going anywhere. That's right. It doesn't matter what the raise is, though. That's the whole point, is the raise doesn't mean shit. And I'm kind of surprised they didn't give him a little more. But believe me, go win the SEC championship. Go win an Audi. He'll get paid. He'll get paid more. But the point is that they showed at Oklahoma, and Joe, and what a perfect time. By the way, perfect time to announce this. Right before Champ U BBQ, so that there is zero question, and these other recruiters out there on other teams are going to negative recruit. Oh, he won't be here in 2 years. Oh, really? They just extended him. He's got a full 5 years left. That's no longer a question. This helps you at Champ U BBQ. Yep, you can laugh all you want to there, Phoenix. You know it's true. You know it's true. We know why you guys hate this extension so much, how you're talking trash about this extension so much. Everybody knows why you hate it. Because BV already caught up to Sark. In 2 years to Sark's 3, he caught up to him and beat him when your best team that you've had in 15 years. Best team. He caught up to him in two seasons. Y'all are scared shitless of what's about to happen. Scared shitless about what's about to happen. We know it. You know it. The world knows it. Texas is about to go back to being completely mid. Yeah. There's no guarantees. And I'll tell you this, Michael, it wasn't even that slow of a decline, brother. It wasn't even that slow. It just hadn't imploded yet. That 6 and 7 was coming with or without the implosion and the gutting of the team. It was coming. It's coming there. I mean, look, would you be really surprised if USC didn't fall flat on their face this year? Because I wouldn't be. Look, 7-5, 8-4 may be nice to what's going to happen to them this season out there. They got a bunch of Lambos. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah. Yeah, it was fully guaranteed, but that don't mean they couldn't have fired him. That just meant they were going to have to pay him. This shows that they were flat out, absolutely, they're going to keep him. They like what he's doing. They love his recruiting. They love the trajectory that the program's on. It took Sark 10 years to win 10 games. 10 years. Coaching at Washington, SC, and now Texas, it took him 10 seasons. BV did it in 2. And not inheriting the depth or a Bijan Robinson and multiple serviceable quarterbacks. Jalen Ford. They had dudes. Yeah. No, yeah, Shawty's eating platefuls of crow next time we talk. No doubt about it. Hey, Stink, thank you so much again for the super chat, man. That's a great super chat. Appreciate you. And yeah, you're right about that too. Nobody has a right to. You can criticize OU fans all you want and try to tell them that they're being crazy. It's just wild, right? Good question. I don't know. My guess is probably on the sidelines. I don't know. I can't really imagine. I think they probably need him to do that, don't you? He needs to be down there and be in their ear. Yeah, they were. But and Mike, I'm not saying that I agree with you on that. I don't think that they were, but this is a signal to the rest of the country, a signal to the rest of the SEC, a signal to Austin that you're not getting rid of this guy. He's recruiting. In fact, there's a lot of underrated recruits that he's gotten in. Those numbers, those 8, he's been 8-5-8, 8-4-8, whatever it was in the recruit, depending on which one you look at. Both of those 8s probably, and particularly the second one. Last year, they were definitely as good or better than anybody in the top 5 with who they recruited. With Danny Okoye and Nigel and Jaden Jackson. I mean, your son and these kids were underrated. No two ways around it. Underrated. The stuff about Miguel Chavis, this stuff we keep hearing about, I don't want to hear that shit anymore about Miguel Chavis. I don't want to hear anybody saying that. The guy got PJ out of Bawari. He's turned Ethan Downs into a freaking dog. He got Danny Okoye. What are we talking about? Why are people talking trash about Miguel Chavis? Why? It's unbelievable. And PJ was a 3-star whenever he went in and discovered him. He shoots up to top 5 in the country. What the hell? Who's saying this stuff? I swear the guy that comes in here and tells me that Chavis don't need to be around here. Oh Lord. No goody. Hey, Stevie Rowland. And I had one more too. Eric Reheard. Will Allie coach from the sidelines of the box? You know what? I don't know. Thanks for the super chat. It's a good question. I guess he could, but I think he's going to be down there so that he can be in those players' ears when they come off the field, just like Venables. You always saw Venables like that too. Crimson and Cream Machine said the transfer destinations of the outgoing players suggest Riley and his assistants were recruiting at the level of a group of 5 program on defense. BV fixes it. Absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. There's no, I mean, listen, out of all the guys that, think about the guys that left. I mean, Harrington, he's definitely a Power 5 guy, right? Um, and then you had, the kid that he ended up at Ole Miss, right? But he'd been a pain in the ass a little bit anyways. But, I mean, Key was good, though. I like Key Lawrence, too. But he had his issues. And he was kind of staying in BV's doghouse a little bit. Look, he probably wouldn't have played as much as he had if Peyton would have been healthy last year. Peyton Bowen's going to be that guy. He stays healthy. You got 2 All-Americans back there. 2. Might be the best safety tandem in the country. Then you've got these kids coming up behind them. Oh, it's unreal. Unreal. The linebacker core might be one of the best in the country. They're back 7, and this is something you're starting to hear it from around the country too. The back end of this thing from the linebackers and back, the back 7 is unbelievable. And we can forget, we don't have to talk about the D line right now or the edges or any of that. They're fine. Think about what you got in the back end of this thing. Good luck. Good luck. How many people are going to go out there and put up 30 and 40 on you now? I don't see it. I don't care how good your offense is. I just don't see it happening very much. I just don't. And you know what? Another thing that we're not going to see a ton of this year that we saw in the Big 12 last year. People talk about that they didn't get enough sacks. Why do you think that is? Because everybody was in max protect except for Texas, and they got 5 sacks on Texas. And then except for who else? It was, what was that, Arizona? And they were getting to Fafita too. Dude, I am a fan. I'm sorry for anything that I said about Ethan Downs. And I never said anything crazy, but I always thought maybe he should move inside because he just wasn't quick enough. And we questioned it. He's been developed. He's going to end up having some time in the NFL because of what he's done with Miguel Chavis. Will he need to get back, coach? Probably, yeah. We are the best, Jose. We are the best. That's absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just wait a minute. It's on paid sites. So I was going to ask you about that, Marsh. So when you were saying that in the comments last week, you were talking about that's like in the chat rooms and stuff like that on the recruiting sites and stuff like that, the pay sites, but in their little chats, those people are wacky. Message boards. Mm-hmm. He's a stud, man. He can absolutely have that. He can have an All-American type season. Listen, he was as important as anybody last season. He was as important as anybody. Think about that Texas game. Now, he almost screwed that up with that, a little too much getting in Ewer's face. But they didn't call it, thankfully. Robert Spears Jennings, love him too, man. I'm not forgetting him. Thank you for saying that there, Bishop Frank. Love him too. These guys are those dudes. On the Oklahoma page sites, the word is that Chavis needs to step. But who's saying that? Who's saying that? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know what? That's because of why? They're scared. They are shook. They know what's coming. Their 15 minutes are almost up there, Keaton. Their 15 minutes are up. Just nobody's found out about it yet. We know. We know. If you're an Oklahoma fan, if you're a Texas fan, you know. That's why they're pissy about all this stuff. That's why they talk all the shit that they do everywhere. Because they know that we all know who they really are. There's no way that you can lose that many guys to the draft and be better with a bunch of. Is it weird to anybody else that all the big questions that they have about Ole Miss because of that he went so heavy portal? I mean, they all love on him, but they're like, well, but you hadn't seen that yet with a really heavy transfer team. But with Texas, they never talk about that. They never talk about that. They just reloaded. Shit. You know who it is. You know who his team is. T-Boomer, you already know who it is. Mm-hmm. Okay, Billy. And you know what? Ty was saying this earlier, and we were talking before the show, and I got to tell you, I think that's all bullshit, too. The more I've thought about it since we talked, I don't buy that shit. We're talking about a blue blood program, too. You mean to tell me they owe the dude $80 million at least? I think it's $80 million at least, right? Because if it was 110, it's more like 90. But after this year, they would still owe him. They're going to owe this cat $80 million, and they're going to hamstring him to where he can't get anybody. I struggle with this one. Now, it makes a lot of sense that that's the kind of shit that would get pushed out there by Lincoln, though. Until I hear that coming out of the mouths of these kids that have decommitted, I just think that they know that they're whack, that they're not going to get it done. And it's not that I think, listen, I'm going to tell you now, I don't think that about Danton Lynn. I don't think that about Coach Henderson. I think those guys know what they're doing. I don't think that I don't think that it's in their hands. It's not in their hands to do anything about it. Because he's not going to play complimentary football, and they're not selling something that those kids can really sink their teeth into. And I was already saying this before, that I really believed that when it came to SC, they were going to end up going through this Big Ten season because they didn't really pull anybody into that. They lost the guys that they'd brought in the early portal opening. They lost them after the spring for that D line. All you got is Bear. And I don't know who else. I mean, whoever else they had that were younger guys or whatever. But the only way this is going to work out is if those guys can immediately develop whoever they have there and somehow salvage 8-9 wins. But I don't see a way in hell. And you get out there and you have to go play on the road at Michigan. They've lost easier games than that. I don't care how many people Michigan lost. They've lost easier games. You're going to the big house. They've lost easier games. With Caleb Williams, they've lost easier games. So I don't know. I know Sherrone Moore is a good coach. I think they take a step back this year. Michigan does, because they have to. They have to. They lost too many guys too. But everybody thinks that there's another thing about Texas. How many times have you heard? And in fact, I heard it on a pod this afternoon. The Fourth and Wrong guys. I like their podcast, by the way. I think, but it was funny to me that he was like, "This is our lock of the year. One of our locks of the year is Texas goes into Michigan and beats them." The only thing that Texas has that they don't is the same quarterback from last year. They lost everybody else the same. They lost about the same amount of guys. I think it's 2 guys difference. 2. And the Michigan defense is going to be one of the best defenses in the country. They have probably the best secondary in the country. I mean, as far as the ratings are concerned, I like Oklahoma's secondary with anybody's. But I would tell you that as far as the rankings and ratings are concerned right now, it's Michigan, Ohio State. That's what they think. Yeah, Eli's a stud too, bro. Absolutely. I don't know that that's again. I don't think that that's the case, man. I don't think that that's the case. I have a hard time believing that SC doesn't have that money. I just don't buy it. What's up there, bloody? Back in the woodshed. Glad you're here too. Yeah. Hmm. Well, I mean, it is what it is. I can't deal with them. I can't do it. Friday the 13th and the Boogeyman Fright Night. I love it. I love it, man. That's so awesome. Dude. And then you got the Slim Reaper, Deshaun McCullough. I like it. I like it. I like it. Headhunters. Love the Headhunter crew. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. You know something else that I was so glad when I saw this the other day? So glad when I saw this the other day. What are you chewing on? Hey, knock it off. This dog. It's like having a damn kid, I swear. Hey, wait. Give me that. Look at this. He's chewing up metal. Norman, get off me. Welcome to the show, Norman. Would you no, he's from everything I'm hearing, it's a done deal for him to go to Auburn. Sounds like Auburn is a done deal. Get down. 130-pound monster. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Well, could you here's the thing, it's like I said, I don't know. I didn't expect them to stick anyway. If they didn't go out there and put up 9 wins in their first year, and I mean theoretically, if Lincoln's offense is clicking like it should, but honestly, they're not that loaded there. They've got one really good receiver. They're probably going to have some guys that are okay. I mean, look, Lincoln can scheme it up with the best of them. I've said that all day. Yeah, he's a big monster. Hey, thanks, Bishop Frank. No, he's not doing that. Hey, we'll find a way to get around that when they're rhyming lemon. Thank you, Bishop Frank, for normie treats. Appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat. Good stuff. Hey, what's up, Esther? Good to see you in there. Thank you for that. Yeah. Deshaun can stay healthy. He's going to be yeah, he is. He's a pain in the ass for everybody. He's a stud. He's a stud, straight up. Deshaun McCullough is a bad dude. He's a bad dude. Love it. Love it. Even if he can and I think a lot of it too is, look, he just had to get his, everybody has to get their time with Schmitty, get Schmitty built. I think that this is a big year for these guys. I don't think you're going to see as many little dinging injuries that are going to really affect them as much. They're getting tough, man. I'd love to, Big Mike, we got to get you back in here, and I want to get Reggie Powers' dad on here too. We should get both of you guys, but I would tell you, how many dog treats does he go through in a week? A ton. Dog food, I basically buy he's usually about a 45-pound bag and then another half of one in a month. So, he's expensive, folks. Pay all you can on your super chats. I appreciate it. Let's see. Yeah. I wouldn't be that surprised at that, man. He's kind of that dude. He's kind of that dude. Normie and IO fun. Thanks, Bishop Frank. Appreciate you, man. Rhyming, you're killing me, bro. I heard on the Sooner Scoop that the O-line transfer is starting to get better. Yeah, I mean, would you expect anything less? I mean, it's Bill Beatonbow. I know a lot. There's another group of people that love to bash on BB. You know, it is what it is. But no, that was the other thing that I saw from the guys at the what's that damn podcast called? I actually like their show. It's pretty good. Damn, let me find that little that they had out there. Did you guys see the picture of the Did y'all see the picture of the field with the SEC logo on it? Freaking awesome. Let's see, where is that? Huh. Damn it. It's probably my downloads instead because maybe not. Norman, what are you doing? No. Okay, well, anyway, what I was looking at was, you realize that Oklahoma has more starts on the offensive line than any of the big boys. All this concern, but they went out there and made sure that they got guys that have started a lot of games. And if what you're saying is true, about Brown, then that's awesome. That means that even if you don't start the guy, you've got depth there, and you're going to have that. So, but they've had more offensive line starts than anybody at Ohio State, anybody at Texas even, and not by a ton, but they have more. Texas, Ohio State, Georgia. Who else? I want to say, I don't know, man. I need to find that damn competitive depth. Mm-hmm. Definitely more than Missouri. If that's what you're saying about drink. Where is that? Damn it. I'll go find it later. But anyway, it's good news. It's good news either way, That was a big get. Whenever I saw that, I was like, oh, wow. I love seeing that. Love seeing that. I have a zoo for dogs. 3 cats, a parrot, and a guinea pig. Bob, you do have a zoo, a little petting zoo. That's pretty cool. Who's visiting this weekend? Well, Michael Fasusi will be here this weekend. Apparently, you're not going to get Ty Haywood, but you are getting Fasusi and Babaloa as well. And it sounds like both of them are pretty close to. It sounds like OU to me. I know Texas fans want to tell you otherwise, but I keep hearing. I mean, hey, listen, what Coop said last night, he said, we're hearing it from the kid, not from these insiders, which you guys know what I think about insiders. Most of them, anyway. Everybody's a huge fan of Mike Boganowski, the headhunter, the Fright Night. Yeah. Yeah, no, it was in the hundreds, but it was a little bit more than It was 120 something or 130 something like that. But anyway, they had more than everybody else. They had more than everybody else of all these big guys. Nice. I like it. Hey, listen, I'm excited about that too. I mean, this is always that week. I was saying this on with Ty and those guys this morning. This is the Champ U BBQ is a big deal. This is when you start getting these kids to kind of tip over. You think about that year when they got Jackson and Peyton, obviously Peyton Bowen, that was later on, but this is when you kind of started feeling like you were going to get some of these guys, and you got a bunch of those secondary guys and the linebackers, Samuel Omosigo and Makari Vickers, and I mean, they were getting a bunch of these guys, Lewis Carter. It was right around the July area, right after they got done with the Champ U, that you ended up getting these guys. So this is big, right? My buying ties theory about which one? The development of the Lincoln Riley development. No, we're not. We're at odds on that. I love Ty to death. We're at odds on that. But the rest of it, I don't know. Yeah, Haywood's a lock there. I think so too. I think it's become kind of clear that he's going there. And you're not going to get both. You're not going to get Haywood and Fasusi. You might get Fasusi and Babaloa, but you're not going to get Haywood and Fasusi. I don't see it for whatever reason. And I'm going to tell you another thing. I'm kind of with what Coop was saying. I think that Foji is going to be a 5-star by the time it's all said and done. Go watch this film. He's the same size as both of these guys that are 5 stars. And not going to sit here and tell you that I'm the best judge of offensive line talent, because I don't know that I am. My eyes say that he's better than anybody else I've seen. That's just me. Yeah, but he's going to FSU this weekend. But yeah, that's what I think. Look, I'm not talking bad about Ty Haywood. I just think that I think that they've done a really good job at Alabama. If he doesn't come, he doesn't come. I mean, you're not going to get all of them. You're not going to get them all. Yeah. Josh McCuistion saying that. Yeah, 1 out of the 4. Okay. Cool. I think that that's huge. If you get one of them, and I think that you probably get Ryan Foji turns into a 5-star. This class is probably going to be a top 5 class. If you get one of those guys, one of those 5-star guys, and let's say you somehow get a second one, or Foji becomes the second one, you're definitely in the 5s or in the top end of it. I don't know how. And here's the other one that I have not been able to put my head around is the safety out of Bozite, Arkansas. What's his name again? Stud. I mean, come on, folks. You just look at him and watch his film. Dude, Marcus Wimberly is that another one of those dudes. 6'1", 200 already, headhunter, just ripped up, ready to rock and roll. Love this guy. Yeah, he's still a 3-star. I don't get it. These are the guys that they're bringing in, though. These are the guys they're bringing in on defense. They've got some. Look, I would tell you guys the Gibson thing is probably not going to happen. He's going to Georgia. That's almost, and the same I would say about Justice Terry. They're both going to Georgia. Kirby Smart has when it comes to defensive, you may not get to keep quarterbacks around there at UGA, but he's got a freaking perimeter fence around Georgia for his boys on the defensive side. They're not going nowhere. When he decides he wants one of those dudes, they're not coming. Damn dog. I think it's Georgia. I don't see him now. I mean, I guess I could maybe see Ohio State. But I don't know. Yeah. Exactly. And again, I think that this was genius move, guys. A genius move to do it now, to announce it now and put the league on notice that he's not going anywhere. He's not on the hot seat. Not that we ever thought he was. He's not going anywhere. It's just how it is. Yeah. Yeah, it would be massive if they got two of those dudes. Well, here's the thing, but that's not true, really, Bob, because they don't have a scholarship limit anymore. They don't really. Now they're going to have some kind of a roster limit that could go lower, but the 85 scholarships isn't really a thing anymore. All that's kind of changing. And I mean, don't get me lying to you about exactly how it's all going to work out, but that's not really a hard and fast 85 anymore. Number one. The other part of it would be that they can mess with the numbers a little bit. They're not going to turn down one of these guys. They're not. If they were able to get two of them, they keep two. That means that they go less somewhere else and they go a little harder next year towards those guys. You're going to have some places open up off of portal guys next year. So you just never know how it's going to end up working out. But by the time it's all said and done and signing day gets around here, they'll figure out the numbers. They'll figure out the numbers. You're not going to turn away another 5-star O lineman. Yeah, he gets it. He just climbs right on top of me. That's a good question. Knowing what you know about Texas, what do you think, Jimmy? Because I would tend to say, yeah, with everything that they expect, all the expectations that are out there, yeah, I would say sure. Michelle, yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. Welcome into the show. Good to see you. I would think so. I would think so. I think that when you start talking about Sark, I don't think that it's ever been that. I don't know that he went into last season. I think he was kind of on shaky ground. Now he was talking a good game and they backed up what he said. Listen, you can't. They lost to Oklahoma, but they went through and did their thing. Aside from that, that was the best team they've put on the field in 15 years. There's no two ways around it, but they lost a lot of that team. But the expectations are still, this is where it's the fact that they're not paying attention to its heavy portal right now. All these guys that they added, yeah, I like Isaiah Bond as much as the next guy. I think Amari Niblack is really good too. Apparently he doesn't know his playbook. We'll see. That won't cut it with Sark at all. I like their running back room and I like their offensive line, but I'm not a big fan of Quinn Ewers, and I don't believe that Arch is ready. Because you went up against the second and third teamers and lit them up in the spring game, who cares? He definitely looks better than he looked a year ago. And look, he is a Manning. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I think he's trash. I don't think he's trash. I just don't think he's Jackson Arnold. But I would say I believe that, yes, they're in trouble. If they don't go out there and win, I think he's in trouble if he don't win 10 with that schedule. They gave them the training wheel schedule. And if he don't go out there and do something with it and go to the playoff again, I think you start hearing rumblings around there about he can't get it done. Because when has he ever got it done? When has he ever got it done? I know that everybody wants to say that about Arch. I'm not ready to exactly say that. Hey, looky there. That's my grandbabies, Blair and Maverick. What's up, dudes? How are y'all? That's awesome. I'm glad to see y'all in here, Blair and Mav. Badass kids. Love it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's off his name for sure, right? I think Ethan Downs is going to be that guy. If Danny stays healthy and plays to the level we think he will play this year, he will win the Bucks award. Yeah, I think he's pretty much the favorite for it right now, from everything I've seen. Yeah, I mean, you heard, and I don't know how much to put into this, but you were hearing a bunch of those guys saying that he was a 3-star if his name was Smith. We'll see. I mean, look, again, I would tell you that I think he's better than what we thought he was in year one. I don't know how much better. The training wheel schedule. Yeah. Thank you, Boomer Sooner. Yeah. Folks, want to take a moment to shout out our partners at Hall of Fame College Football, Mint Mobile. Folks, if you are still sticking with big wireless, I got to ask you why. You can get 3 months of unlimited talk, text, and data on the nation's largest 5G network for just $45, and you don't have to change phones or do anything else to do it. You can use the phone that you have. You can keep the service that you have. They have a digital SIM, eSIM card. It'll give you a second line on your phone, allow you to test it out for the 3 months, see if you think it's going to work. If you're somebody that drives or, you're in certain places that sometimes even with your big wireless, sometimes your service is a little sketchy. This is a good time to test that out. I had to do that. I tested it out. And I'm kind of in a rural area right now, and this is actually working better for me than what Verizon did. 3 months, unlimited talk, text, and data, $45. It goes up to $30 a month if you pay for it after that. But I'm going to save $1,600 this year by switching to Mint Mobile. Go check it out. TryMintMobile.com/HOF. That's TryMintMobile.com/HOF. You can thank me later. Our official show merchandise. I want everybody to kind of check this out. And shout out to Stink Ass Cat, who bought one of the Horns Down shirts or hats the other day. I think he bought some shirts or something too, but he sent me a picture of this. One of the Horns Down hats from the other day. As you can see, we've got a couple of different designs, including our QR code it's got a special little message for our friends over at Texas. Oklahoma versus the world, though. I kind of like that design myself, if I do say so myself. And then, of course, we have the 4 in a row stuff for the Sooner softball program as well to kind of honor them a little bit, too. We'll have some more stuff. I'm just trying to – they changed up the whole deal on there, so I have to redesign everything. So it's taking me some time, and I've been doing a lot of content, so I hadn't had time to put up everything else that I had. But it's going up there a little more every day. Get on there and check all that stuff out, though, man. It's awesome stuff. HOFmedia.us/pod-merch to jump in there. You get great deals on a lot of that stuff. Actually, the prices are a lot better than they used to be on the other store. I don't even have to raise the price at all to make a little bit of profit off of it. So it's a good deal. You can always get your performance golf apparel from Melrig through our partner site as well. It's melrig.com/JW_HOF. I don't think I have a ton of golfers in here, but if you are one, you should definitely check it out. They've got great gear in there. The free way to help us out and make sure that you support the program is just make sure you hit that like button, become a subscriber. What's the Q code? It's so a QR code, you can scan it with your phone camera, and it'll actually take you to a website that's got a little message on there for it. So, Kyle, please. Yeah, that's okay. Hey, what's up, Kyle? Good to see you, man. Now, I can agree with this. Listen, all I'm saying is I don't know that he's a bum either. I just don't think that he's necessarily that guy. But I know a lot of people down in Austin are ready for him to play. Because what has Quinn really done? And we're talking about he was the first guy to get like a perfect rating coming in? I don't know. But with kind of talk OU fans are taking, it feels like OU needs to win the Natty this year because of the experience and talent this team is going to have. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've said it a lot, and Bishop Frank, he might be on board with you there. I still think 2025. Look, I think if things fell the right way, and if you got on the right roll, because momentum is something else, right? Momentum is, it can do a lot of things. But I think a lot of things would have to go right, and you would have to sidestep a ton of landmines in order to win it this year. And I still think that Georgia's the best team. I just think Georgia's the best team. Now, that doesn't mean the best team doesn't always win. So there is an opportunity there. But you do, I mean, listen, I heard a stat I did hear a stat the other day that I didn't like. Oklahoma hasn't won a road game against a ranked opponent in 5 years. We're going to have to go and do that at least 3 times. Road games against ranked opponents. We haven't done it in 5 years once. And all of a sudden we're going to do it 3 times. That's a lot to ask, even of a really good team. And I think that, again, they can do it. I have less belief in Missouri and Ole Miss than I have in Tennessee and Alabama. A lot less. I think that LSU, I don't know what I think of LSU yet, but I think that they're always, I mean, look, LSU's got talent all the time, no matter what. What just happened? Hold tight. The camera went out. I don't know what's going on here. The camera went out again. Hang tight, everybody. I'm going to have to reset it probably. Give me just a second. Hey guys, before we jump into the topics for the day, I just wanted to take a moment to shout out our partners at Hall of Fame College Football, Mint Mobile. Look, I am super grateful for this partnership with Mint Mobile because, let's be serious, if you're anything like me, you're overpaying for your wireless service. But with Mint Mobile, you can get everything you get with big wireless, aside from the big price tag, for as low as $15 a month. Speed, coverage, data, 5G access, mobile hotspot. It's all available right there on Mint Mobile and for way less than you're used to paying at your big wireless carrier. How do they do it? Well, they basically just reimagined the entire wireless experience. No more dealing with a pushy salesperson. Everything you do with Mint Mobile is right through its app on the phone that you already own. You can literally go and purchase your service and activate it right now. TryMintMobile.com/HOF is our partner link. And if you sign up today, you can get 3 months of unlimited talk, text, and data for just $45. That's $15 a month for the best package they have for 3 months. If you could get it with big wireless, you can get it right here on Mint Mobile. Check it out and thank me later. I'm back. I think we'll see how long it lasts. Reset the camera. We'll see what's up with that. Stop the cap, bro. Anytime either team makes a big hire, gives the extension, other teams' fans get on social media and talk. It's just isn't anything new. I don't care. I know why you're talking smack. You can tell anybody whatever the hell you want to tell them, Marvin. I know what y'all are doing. Y'all are scared shitless of what Oklahoma's about to become. You were hoping that they would fire him because he already caught up in year 1. That's a fact. You don't have to like it, but it's the truth. I tell it like it is. And by the way,
the brand has finally returned. F your brand.
You ain't got to like it. Let's see. Ole Miss and LSU both winnable. Yeah, absolutely. I think they're both winnable. I think they're both losable as well. You know, I think that this is the thing, is the one thing you do know, aside from the Missouri game, you're never going to get that. I think that they're going to lose that game. That was another one of the locks on 4th and wrong, that Missouri was going to win that game. And 4th and wrong is probably right, is wrong. I don't see it. But I would tell you, what's up there, Timothy? Good to see you, man. Look, I'm going to tell you that I believe that this is that when you win. I think that, you know, look, if you could get out of that, if you can get out of that Alabama game with a win, this is a good time to do it, because of the fact that we don't know where they are on defense yet. And to be quite honest with you, you have to assume that they're able to get, and I love Jalen Milroe. I think the guy's a stud, but I don't know what he is as a passer yet. And I don't know that you're going to be able to change his motion and do everything you need to do and all of a sudden make him into Aaron Rodgers. I just don't see it. But that doesn't mean that they don't figure out a way to make it work there and still have a better offense than they did a year ago. And again, I'm not that guy that's going to sit here and tell you that I'm predicting the downfall of Alabama football, because I'm not. I like Tennessee quite a bit. Again, you get them at home, that should be another one of those wins. You got to be careful about you're going to have to be careful with Rocket Sanders and this new quarterback at South Carolina, although I don't look, they should beat South Carolina too. I'm just telling you that there's some hazards out there with these teams. You can't afford to overlook anybody, and not that I think that they will. But you go on the road at Auburn. This is first road game in the SEC is at one of the toughest places there are to play. Now, the good news is if that place is really haunted, it doesn't seem to be as haunted during the daytime, and they get them in the morning. It's a morning game. Matter of fact, we're working to see if we can't get together with Coach I and those guys to do a on-site game day type show that day. They're at Auburn. And then they, of course, have that game that night is the Alabama and Georgia game. Is that night in Tuscaloosa. It may be kind of hard to get to both places for me, but they could probably come and do game day and then take off and be able to make it there for their game. But it's looking kind of fun. That'd be kind of fun. Saw Bama fans saying 10-2 is the floor. Yeah, I don't know about that either. I would say that's a tough look. But they're used to, listen, here's the thing. And I will say again, they still have the number one talent roster. So you got to be careful about and look, we know that Kalen DeBoer's done more with less. So I can see them winning 10, 11 games still. I really could. I think that their schedule is very tough as well. They've got that Georgia game. I think they're favored, or Georgia's favored by 5 or 6 or something like that. So there's a toss-up, but it's at home. So really they're expecting Georgia to be probably around 8-10 points better if you're looking at it because of the home thing. No, you can't overlook anybody. But the fact is you go up against the teams that are the best too. So there's some stumble spots. I mean, and if somehow Lane Kiffin gets it together and finally decides he knows how to win a big game, that's a tough place to go win too. The Grove has always been tough. Auburn's going to be tough. Just because look, they're still going to be good in the trenches. I think that everywhere that they're not, as far as, I don't know that I believe Peyton Thorne is going to put up anything on this defense, which is again the equalizer for Oklahoma. If they can be on defense what we think they are, yeah, the sky's the limit. I think it's acting. I think it's a lot to ask for them to go and win the Natty this year. Go 11-1, go 10-2. I know a lot of people are saying it. I'm not going to be that guy. Like the damn wheels fall off, 7-5 could happen. Sure. Okay. The wheels fall, 7-5 wheels falling off. That would be, to me, that's Jackson Arnold gets hurt, can't come back into we lose a lot of the season for him. Possibly you get another injury in the quarterback room, because I'm not sure that Michael Hawkins couldn't come in and be very good too. I mean, I don't. There's a lot of things I think would have to happen. Offensive line would have to be just trash. I just don't see it. I have a hard time with it. Yeah. Again, I think that what this showed was they they recommitted to him and let him know that hey, we still want you here and we like where you're headed. And that it tells me that Joe C understands that it could take more than just the time that we want as fans. We all, I mean, our expectations are high. And look, when it's been as long as it's been since they won a natty, I understand why our expectations are high. But it takes the amount of time it takes to make a meal, man. If you put a cake in the oven and it's supposed to be in there for an hour and you take it out in 30 minutes, it's not going to be good. So expecting to speed everything up, I think that there's some things that have happened over the last year that will allow Oklahoma to maybe take it a step further than what I expected for 2024. I still think 2025 is their best opportunity. If they win it this year, then I'm expecting that they'll probably win 2 in a row. But something I think most people have made the assumption that it's going to be even harder to win a natty now. And I think to some instance it could be, right? But the more I've gotten to kind of think about hold on real quick here. I'm not going to go with this. Yeah, I would expect to fall. Yeah. 7-5 is your floor for OU. Okay. Just realistically can't see OU losing no more than 2 games. You really can't? When they're on the road at LSU, they're on the road at the Grove. Can't see them losing 2 games on the road and possibly Bama. Possibly you lose your first SEC game. I don't know that that's going to happen. But again, we're talking about good football teams, guys. It's not the Big 12. I'll just say this. Whatever happens, the good news that I was saying is the good news for me. Yes, Schmidt's been there. They've built up the strength and conditioning program is on its way. You're getting the guys that should be. And I think that I kind of understand where I'm at with it and what you guys are saying. And I kind of would tend to agree a little bit, somewhat on it. Oh, is this old Cody? Are you going to come in here and yell at me again, Cody? Because I ain't sending you a link for that shit. No, I'll send you a link to your, where do you want me to send it? What? Twitter. All right. I'll send it to you. Hold on to your butts. Got high top Cody coming in, boys. The professor. Come on in. It's in there. I love me some Cody. I'm glad he's coming on. Let's see. Yeah, listen, I think I would just tell you this. I still look at that trajectory as 2025 as their best season, right? I agree with you that I love what they've done with strength and conditioning. I love what they're doing with recruiting. Where I agree with you, I tend to agree with you, is having that leadership on the back end with Danny, with Billy Bowman, with Ethan Downs, even with Woody Washington. These are guys that have a lot of experience and are going to be helpful. I think it's big, right? If they do what we expect them to, if they are a top 10 defense, yes, the sky's the limit. They really shouldn't lose more than that, because offensively, they're going to be fine on offense. This is never a problem with Oklahoma. The idea of people really questioning Oklahoma offense is ludicrous to me. But the schedule strength is tough. Looky there, it's the Oprah. Hey,
What's up, bud?
Hey, man, I got it, buddy.
Hold on, real fast. Let me get that off. How are you?
Good, brother. What are you doing?
Oh, just hanging out in the garage. Kids were having a sleepover thing, so I got banned into the garage.
Yeah, you got banned to the garage?
Yeah. The girls are having a sleepover, so Dad's not allowed to hang out.
That's
all right,
awesome.
so I think this is a great move by Oklahoma, truthfully.
Tell me. Go ahead.
Okay, so let's look at the hiring class that Venable was in. I think it was Cristobal.
Yes, it was Cristobal and Billy and him.
Cristobal, Billy, him, and there's somebody else.
Yeah, Luke Fickell
that hasn't produced
at Wisconsin, maybe.
Fickell at Wisconsin. There's somebody else too. So there's 5 of them.
Well, Lincoln Riley, obviously, at USC.
Okay. No, not Lincoln. There was another one.
Well, it is Lincoln.
LSU.
Yes, Brian Kelly.
So I think because Oklahoma has done so well with recruiting and recruits, they had an elite D-line last year.
Dan Lanning's another one as well.
I was high on. I could see Dan Lanning getting an extension, especially going into the Big Ten. Sure. But I think
hadn't won a big game yet, but okay.
The recruiting has really showed out for Oklahoma. He beat Texas last year, won a game he shouldn't have.
10 games in year 2.
Yeah, lost a game he probably shouldn't have against Okie Light.
Sure,
but that's besides the point. Kansas. But I think you go ahead and do the extension because you're going into the SEC, and a lot of players right now are saying, well, what makes me want to go to your program, because I don't know if you're going to be here or not.
He still had 3 years left, but I think it's absolutely the right thing to do. And the reason I said this earlier, I said, look, they reset the whole thing on him, and that just showed that, and right before Champ U BBQ, by the way, so you've got all these major recruits in there, that there is no more question about that now.
Yep.
I'm here. We're here.
We're here for another.
We're on the right.
Years.
We're on the trajectory that's going up.
We're going into the SEC.
I know that. I know our boy, High Top himself does not believe in Oklahoma, but I know that you know better. They're a professor.
No, I think they're gonna have. I think they're gonna be a little bit of acclimation going into the SEC because it's such a grinder. Obviously that you guys didn't get any
it's
favor.
A tough schedule. Aside from Florida, everybody's. Oklahoma's is the toughest one.
Yeah, I think they really did that on purpose. But for the university to say we're going to give you 6 more years, that tells me we found our guy. We found our guy that's not going to. And it might be a little bit of because of Lincoln, Venable isn't going to ride off into, just skip overnight. We found a guy that's going to be committed to us, and he's liking what, the university is liking. The boosters are liking what he's doing recruiting with the NIL. He hasn't been in any scandals. I don't know of any Oklahoma players that have gotten in trouble in the last 6 months. Have there been? No DUIs or arrests or anything?
We got a couple of DUIs actually in this month, but I don't think it's nothing to where you're gonna nobody got hurt.
It's not Georgia. It's not Georgia.
No accidents, nothing like that.
Yeah.
And Welcome into the show, Jason Spangler. Shouldn't have lost to Kansas. How so? Because we had a poorly called game by the offensive coordinator. But I'm not a bad mouther of Kansas, by the way. I like Jason Bean. And I think that that's a different Kansas team than what people are used to seeing. It's not a 2-win Kansas team. It's not the worst loss in the world, but you still shouldn't have probably lost.
It's like Missouri. It was like Missouri last year. It's like Missouri last year. Shocked a lot of people. But I think it's
Marvin's lying. You're scared. You're scared, or you wouldn't be in here telling me that. Every sign points to you going back to being mid. Every sign. You lost 11 freaking guys to the draft. Your best players went to the draft of your best team in 15 years. That's what.
Who's that? Texas?
Texas. And Quinn Ewers ain't that freaking good.
They did reload in the portal, though.
Okay. Why is it that Texas can reload in the portal and it's not going to be an issue, but everywhere else it's a question because you just don't know what you're going to get in the portal?
Yeah, well, I was high on FSU last year, right? And I was right. They were going to be they were almost a playoff team. If old boy didn't break his ankle, they were going to win a national championship, probably.
Sark's won 10 games once, Marvin. That's what it has to do with Sark. That's what it has to do with Sark. He's won 10 games once. Show me more than that. Otherwise, you're barking up the wrong tree here, buddy. And if you weren't scared, you wouldn't be here telling me about it.
Yeah, I
scared shitless. Y'all know damn good and well.
I'm taking both those teams with kind of I wouldn't bet on them. I wouldn't bet on Oklahoma this year, and I wouldn't bet on Texas going into the SEC because you just don't know what you're going to get.
Oh, I agree with that. Listen, that's what the conversation we were kind of just having in here was like, I'm still trying to temper expectations a bit. I think that there's some things that have happened that should put them in a position to where they could go and be big, right? But I've told you before, my target year for Oklahoma to go compete for everything was 2025. It's always been.
But there's just a lot of teams that can walk up and sucker punch you, right? Like if you play Kentucky,
it's all about
like
Norman.
They can walk up and sucker punch the shit out of you.
Well, we don't play Kentucky, but you have road games at Ole Miss. You have a road game. I'm worried about Missouri whatsoever. You have a road game at Ole Miss. You have a road game at LSU. You get Alabama at home, and you get Tennessee.
Score a lot of points.
Huh?
LSU is going to be like playing in the Red River. That's how wild it is. Everybody's like, oh, well, we play in the Red River. Well, go to Baton Rouge on a night game when you get all those drunk.
It's a different deal. Yeah.
Occasions.
Oh yeah. The thing is we're going to find out about whatever's going on with LSU at that point. I mean, this is the last game of the year. If they're not as good,
well, that's the worst time to face them.
Maybe. What if they're not very good?
They might be humming.
What if
LSU?
They're not humming?
If you want to play LSU, you want to play a Brian Kelly team, it's in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, and I think what B's saying here, anytime you go on the road to Auburn, LSU, I know you have a battle. I'm not one of these people that's saying we're going to walk into the SEC and just dominate the thing. But I think that what they're doing at Oklahoma is and this is the point that the whole thing was about. My live was for this to establish that, look, Brent Venables is building this thing in a way that they will win in the SEC. Don't get it twisted. And they believe in him that he's doing that. He's been in the top 10. Go ahead.
I feel like he got the extension because I feel like that Oklahoma knows that he's the guy, right? And I feel like LSU didn't give Brian Kelly the extension because do you really want to give Brian Kelly an extension?
What do you need to extend him for?
Do you really want to give him and he's grimy. You know how grimy that dude is? Like, do you really
we don't buy players at LSU. Get the fuck out of here. You're telling me that you don't buy players at LSU. No football players, but women's basketball players.
You got 5 number 1 ranked in their position. You don't buy no players. Okay, whatever. It's 2024. Everybody's buying players. It's part of NIL and soon to be part of college football. Pay for play is open and wide.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. So to sit there and it's completely.
Your team drops the bag. Your team drops the bag. You know
Come on.
what? If dropping the bag,
quit being full of shit and blaming it on these kids of why you didn't get the damn job done, why you didn't close the deal.
If dropping the bag is a thing, then why didn't Texas A&M win 2 national championships back to back?
Facts. But it's that whole idea that
why hasn't
Dominic Williams chooses Oklahoma? Dominic Williams chooses OU. I promise you that Texas and LSU were offering the same, if not more. It wasn't just about money with Dominic Williams. It was about relationships. I've said this a lot. I know you've been saying this too. The most important thing in the NIL era is building personal relationships. If you don't do it, if you're just going after these mercenary kids, then you're not getting the right dudes. You're not going to win. So I know better than that. And I don't believe, but what does BK do? He throws Dominic Williams under the bus and he just wants to be bought. They just want to be bought. Get the out of here. When you were at Notre Dame, you were telling everybody how you didn't get to shop in the same aisle as everybody else, and that's why you couldn't win a natty. Now you're failing to recruit in a place that everybody recruits their asses off. You're failing to land these guys that you're trying to get because historically bad defense there last year, BK. And now all of a sudden we're supposed to believe that you don't. Historically bad. Awful.
That
Trash.
was the worst. I've been watching the LSU.
Trash.
My stepmother's family are LSU boosters.
Yeah.
You know what they said? We sold our season tickets off like 4 weeks in.
That is
we couldn't watch it anymore.
Look, this was year 2, and I don't expect you to understand this, B. I get it, and I understand what you're saying. There's a talent difference, but look, I would tell you that Kansas has one of the best coaches in the country. Lance Leipold is that guy. And they're not the same Kansas that we've seen before. Now, Oklahoma State losing that game, there's no excuse for that. There was no excuse for, and the UCF game, probably not. Look, they didn't have the depth that they have this year. They didn't have the depth at all. And I would tell you that this is a different, look, year 3 with Brent Venables and his defenses is generally top 10 in the country, top 5 even. So the expectations are that they're going to be a lot better on defense. Now, does that mean that I expect them to run through the SEC? No, they have a tough schedule. I think if they go 9-3, get to 10-2, wow, that's a great year with this schedule. I think it's a great year. Yeah. I think if somehow if you get 8-4, it's not what you love, but it's
okay. But it depends how the 8-4 is.
Kind of depends, yes. Kind of depends on what it looks like. If they're
blowouts, if they're blowouts, and you're like, oh boy, that was terrible. Or if they're like a
kick, you get rolled,
like a Mizzou Florida game, and they put one in the heart at 56 yards out with a kicker.
Yeah, so he's basically, this is his 3rd year. He's going into his 3rd year. He's got added 3. Yeah, he basically just re-upped his contract, just rolled. But this means that, look, they love where he's headed, right? And it also doesn't allow other programs to negative recruit and say they're not going to be here in 2 years.
Yeah. That's what Florida's going with right now, too. That's the big knock on Florida.
That's what Florida's going through. Billy's going to be gone in game 5.
Yeah, but he's not. I'm
not saying that he is. I'm telling you that's what these other coaches are saying. It's a tough time to recruit if you're Billy right now. A tough time. They got to win. If they start winning, if they get it, hey, beat Miami in week 1. All of a sudden you're going to get it because Cristobal's going to be in deep shit if that happens. Even though it's at the Swamp.
What happens if it's, let's say it's 35-7, Florida over Miami.
Oh shit, that's trouble. That's trouble.
With like 3 let's say 300 yards rushing.
Yeah.
We get like 4 or 5 sacks.
He's
Miami
probably gone.
just looks
He's
out
probably,
of place.
It just got super shaky in freaking Cristobal's world. Because they're already out. I mean, look, after he pulled that shit and didn't kneel on the ball against Georgia Tech and lost, what a dumb fuck. What were you thinking? You know, that's not going to work. So to me, their schedule sets up light. Aside from this game, they don't have to play. I think they play Florida State, but they don't have Clemson this year. They don't have, I think their ACC schedule, and the ACC is weak anyways. But I think that their schedule sets up for them to play for the ACC championship. So
I think their toughest opponents like Wake Forest at Wake Forest.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, I don't think that they need to fire Billy Napier. Keaton, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the negative recruiting is what we were talking about. I wasn't saying that I think Billy's doing fine. And I think that it'd be stupid to fire him because then you probably don't get Lagway next year. Well,
and it's showing
unless he loses 8, they're gonna keep him. I think.
Yeah. We had three transfer portal guys. A kid from Alabama, a kid from USC, offensive lineman, number 1 offensive interior offensive lineman. We had Zandela from USC. We took him. We got Grimsley from Alabama. And then we got another kid that was, and that's based off, we were number 2 when they picked, and then they got to campus and they transferred in the spring early. And they were like, yeah, this isn't for me. This isn't me. I'm going to go to Florida. I think that's going to start happening to Oklahoma this coming year. I think they really cleaned up. Last year, I was really high on their defense. I'm high on their defense again. I made a video about it on High Top Sports Recruiting. I was actually looking over their class again today. I'm high on them. I think that my only question is, how is that offense going to run with the new OCs, which they were there last year, but I got to see it.
Oklahoma? Are you talking about
Jackson Arnold be the guy?
Oh, yeah.
Or is it going to be Hawkins going to be nipping at his, like a cattle dog, nipping at his ankles?
Levy had to go, bro. Levy's play calling was trash.
You guys scored a shitload of points, though.
It was timing. Timing is everything. The KU game was shit. Dylan throws an interception, a pick 6, by the way, early in that game, right? But anytime he ever made a mistake, Levy completely lost belief in him. He ends up only having like 16 passes in this game. Jason Bean, meanwhile, a backup had like double that, more than double that, and they still lost on 1 play, pretty much.
I get that, but when 1, 2, 3, week 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you're blowing people out, and then I just got to see it again.
I'm not saying that there shouldn't have been. Look, what I would tell you is Seth Luttrell, as an offensive coordinator and a play caller, has a much better track record than Levy had coming in.
And that's fine. He's
called more offense. He's been there. I think that what they have as far as continuity is concerned, Joe John was already there, but the play caller, I mean, you already had them there. They know each other. They didn't lose anybody to Levy, off of this football team, off of this offense. So to me, I think it's going to be better. I think it's better. I think offensively, look, I'm going to tell you what I just said on this show a minute ago. The last thing I worry about on this Oklahoma football team is offense, bro. I'm just not worried about offense.
I'm not worried about the defense.
It's Oklahoma football.
I think you're going to take a giant step forward in defense this year, truthfully. I'm more worried about the offense. I'm not worried about the offensive line. You got a proven guy that.
They have more starts. They have more starts than anybody. The guys that they've brought in, they've got more starts. And plus Beaton.
Coach, what's his name?
No, I'm talking
he's
about
put
the
more-
transfer
he's put
guys
more
they've got.
elite-
There's more starts on the O line than there is at Ohio State, at Texas, at I want to say Georgia too.
Yeah, he's a proven commodity. He produces NFL linemen. I'm not worried about that. I just wonder, can Jackson Arnold take the next step, or is he going to be worried about looking over his shoulder? And do you go to the young guy? That can cause some problems in an offense.
It's look again. I think they're going to be better. And here's the thing with Jackson being new. Yes, I get that. I love Dylan Gabriel, and I will always have a soft place for him because aside from him, especially that first year, they had nothing. They had nothing at quarterback, and he did some. He was big in the. Listen, the Red River game is enough for me to love him forever. Okay, but I'll say this. The deep ball, he didn't have it. If he missed the timing, he wasn't going to get it there. And Jackson doesn't have that problem. The floor and the ceiling are just, it's not the same guy, man. It's not
Yeah, you just got to iron out the INTs. Which that's growing.
That's one game, one start, new coordinator for him. It's a whole new deal. I mean, look, I get it. But look, and people always do this. He has a great bowl game and you're like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. We're going to go. I mean, that's a great game. You could also say, who gives a shit? It's a bowl game that nobody cares about. Or you have a bad game and they're like, he's trash. You know, I mean,
if Hawkins,
is either one of them more, is either one of them more true?
If Hawkins would have thrown 4 INTs during the spring game, you'd be like, oh boy, this guy needs a lot of work. You know, Arnold's the guy. Hey, listen, a quarterback.
And that's the other thing. Their O line was they didn't have
that
O line in that game, so he struggled. His struggles were also because he was getting pressure too. Again,
listen,
I think that he works a lot of that.
A big quarterback.
I'm not worried about Jackson Arnold, bro. I'm not. Huh?
Big quarterback battles. Not that's like that's what we call first world problems in college football. You got
Michael Hawkins.
You know what I mean? It's like.
There's been some talk around. Brother, there's been some talk around
DJ Lagway, right?
Same shit. Yeah, DJ Lagway. Yeah. Oh, dude. What do you think's going to happen? What's going to happen? Are they going to start him
over Mertz?
Yeah.
No, I think.
Come on, brother.
I think it's. This is how it's going to go. I think they're going to pull a Urban. I think it's going to be Leak Tebow.
Okay.
I think they're going to have he's not going to redshirt. I can tell you that from what I've heard from very close people in the Florida program, and he's not redshirting. He's going to play too many games.
Yeah.
They have packages for him. They have things for him where people are going to think that he's going to be a runner.
Game, right? Especially if they're not winning a bunch, they better have him in there seeing to like what's coming.
I mean, he shot a goddamn Gatorade commercial. You don't shoot a Gatorade commercial and you don't redshirt that guy and never get to see him in a game. I mean, he's
says
him.
Super chat, bro. Levy gave me the same vibe as Riley from the jump. Always called plays as if they were hiding something. Real OU fans dig it. Hey man, I'm much a fan of Seth Littrell. Seth Littrell, what we saw out of him at North Carolina, at Arizona, Seth is the guy. And look, and even his those early years when he was still calling plays at North Texas, he's called plays and been much more successful than we saw. Jeff's never called plays until he got to Oklahoma. He wasn't calling plays at Ole Miss. He wasn't.
Why do you think he got the promotion then?
Because he's an Oklahoma guy and somebody told BV they needed him. Look, I'm not a hater.
No.
I'm not a Lebby hater. I think he caught a few too many strays at times, but there was times that it just like he called an amazing game in the Red River. He called shit games against SMU and Kansas and really Okie Light too.
Yeah.
He was uneven. It was sometimes you wondered what his goal was.
Rocky
If he
Road
knew what
really
his
the
goal
ice
was.
cream.
You know how sometimes you just
Rocky,
doesn't look like they have
Yeah.
a clear goal in mind. It's not just to score touchdowns. It's like they really didn't have a clear goal in mind against what they were going up against. That's what I felt like.
Rocky Road ice cream. That's what that offense was.
Okay. What does that mean?
It just highs and lows. Sometimes it's good.
Yeah,
Sometimes you get a chunk of you get a chunk of
Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate that.
semi-sweet chocolate that you didn't want. It's Rocky Road ice cream.
Okay, I got you. No, yeah, hey, yeah, and I think that Seth's the good. He's a good guy with this. I think that they're doing well, but again, in the end, what I was saying about the whole thing, and this is just where I'm at with it. I believe, and this is bottom line, Texas is concerned because we know that this is the best team they had, and they still didn't beat Oklahoma. I know they got to the playoff, good for them, but.
Yeah.
Had they played Oklahoma in the Red River game, or I mean in the championship game, if Oklahoma makes it back, do they get there? No, they don't lose. They don't win the game there either. Here's the deal. I think that they lost the best parts of that team, and everybody's giving them all this love about heading in. I'm not saying they're not recruiting well. I'm saying they lost the biggest things that they lost on the defensive side. I'm not thinking they're going to be awful on offense because they're not. That's what Sark does well.
Well,
but losing Murphy and Sweat plus Bo Davis.
We have a High Top Sports Texas channel.
Yeah,
and I straight up asked her. I said, "How do you replace that?"
Yeah. What did she say?
I asked Lacey. I said, "She goes, you can't replace those two guys."
Oh, laced up. I'm surprised that she said that. She's usually given all the reasons why they're fine.
She was truthful. No, she was straight, right down the fairway. She said, you can't replace guys like that.
And it's not even that. It's Bo Davis too, though. That was the biggest thing. I think Sark letting him get out of town was his biggest problem.
She said that those guys are once every 8 to 10 years, and to have two of them is pretty special.
They were 3 stars, bro. He developed them into that.
Yeah. They're good, though. They're NFL talents.
Yes, I'm not saying they weren't good. They were first and second round guys. Obviously, they were good. They had Bo Davis to get them there.
Should have been 2 first round guys, but
And in the end, listen though, Cody.
Yeah, I get it.
The guy that got them to that point is at LSU now.
Yeah, and
they missed in the portal. They missed in the portal.
Well, it's just like the guy that got us DJ Lagway is no longer. He's at Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
It's frustrating, but that's the game we play in college football. Like, guys are going to move. And hopefully you found a guy that can do. Develop the same and recruit the same.
Sure.
And find diamonds in the rough.
We're going to find out. But, I mean, the thing is that we don't know anything about this guy because he played in the league and then he's been coaching at Miami. So he hasn't ever really recruited.
No. Well, the only word he coached at Miami last year.
Not that Bo was the greatest recruiter either because he wasn't.
What was he there at Miami last year?
I think so, yeah.
Well, he got Bain. Bain's damn good.
Okay.
Miami
Bain's Dolphins, not the Canes. Not the Canes, the Dolphins.
Oh, Dolphins. I thought you meant that Canes. I was like, oh yeah, Bain's really good.
The Canes,
but that's one out of 8 guys. You can't hit 1 out of 8.
No, he was coaching in the NFL.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know about him either. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying he's good. I'm just saying we got to. I mean, you can't assume that he's better than Bo Davis as a defensive line coach. And that's, again, I'm not saying that they can't be good. They did get the training wheel schedule. I'm not saying they can't be good. I'm saying that a lot of things have to go very, very well for them to repeat what they did last year in the Big 12.
I don't think they're going to repeat it. I think Texas fans are going to be pretty sad.
I think 9 wins. I think 9. Look, until I see Sark win 10 wins, get 10 wins more than once, I'm not going to believe he can do it. Took him 10 years to do it once.
What about 10 wins in the SEC?
Facts. That's the other. And again, I mean, look.
So they're saying
they got Vandy. They do have Vandy and Mississippi State, and I mean, you know. But look, Arkansas with Bobby Petrino, that could bite you. I think Florida could beat them. I think it's tough because you got to go to Austin. But I think Florida, here's what I'm going to tell you. One of these teams will beat Texas. It will either be Arkansas, Florida, Mississippi State, or Kentucky. One of those teams is gonna bite their ass. Watch it happen.
It could be Kentucky and Florida, truthfully.
Okay.
Everybody's
and I think that A&M gets them. I think A&M gets them because they're in College Station, and I don't think A&M's that bad. They got a grown up there now.
Yeah,
and I like their quarterback situation too. I just don't. I mean, listen, far be it from me to believe in Aggie.
So that's 3. Right? That's 3 losses. Who else do they play?
They're losing to Oklahoma and Georgia, bro.
So that's 5 losses.
No, I think they go 8-4. I got them at 8-4, 9-3.
I think they lose to Kentucky and Florida.
You do? Okay. Well, I said they're going to lose to one of those schools.
No, I think they lose to both. I think
losing the A&M game, but I'm not going to be that surprised if A&M gets them. They're not going to beat Oklahoma, and they're not going to beat Georgia. They're not.
Kentucky is like a boa constrictor that gets wrapped around your. They just
pain in the ass.
Constrict. They just constrict you to death. They're going to run the ball. I think their
quarterback situation is what you got to find out if is he really that good.
It didn't matter last year when you got a running back run for 200-300 yards a game.
Well, they fell off, bro. They fell off. They only won 7 or 8 games. 7.
Yeah, after the offensive line got beat up. If the offensive line wouldn't have got beat up, they were going to win 10 games on the back of Ray Davis. And I'm telling you, Kentucky is a team that will sucker punch the shit out of you.
Oh yeah,
that's
man.
The thing.
Like, we know Mark Stoops well. We know who this guy is. We know Mark Stoops.
These Texas fans think they're just going to bump into the SEC and be a 10, 11 win
shit ever, isn't
it?
Isn't it the dumbest shit? You know what it really is? You know what it really is? It's this false bravado because they haven't been good in forever, and they just want everybody to believe that they're better than Oklahoma, and even though they know they're not.
I think for Oklahoma and Texas this year is going to be. I'm not betting on either of them. I think it's going to be a shock to reality. I think that BV is going to go back in his next year and really look at who they need. I think you might be surprised there, Professor. I think you might be surprised, but I do think it's going to be fun. And I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not out here saying 11-1, 12. I ain't that dude. That ain't me. I think that if they hit 10 wins, they had a hell of a year. And if they hit 9 wins, they had a hell of a year. And they'll still, with that schedule at 9 wins, you might have a chance at the playoff there. I think that's a hell of a season. I think the Gators can only win 8 wins and with their schedule get into the playoffs somehow.
They gotta build a statue for Billy if they win 8 or 9.
There's a lot of
it's a brutal schedule. I've never seen a schedule like that ever.
You know what though?
11 FBS teams. 11, no, not FBS. 11 power conference teams, P4 teams.
And you know what the best thing is? They just flip-flopped it the next year, and we have 7 home games this year, and we won't have 7 home games the next year. So it's going to be even tougher the next year.
Hey, I got to do this for the folks. This is
The brand has finally returned. Fuck your brand.
The Onikuno, fuck Texas. Yeah, there we go. I don't care about.
I think it's going to be fun though. I think this is going to be the best year SEC football since COVID. Since what's her name? Gave everybody COVID, kissing everybody on the lips. Mullen's wife.
Yeah. Oh, playing what 7 or 8 top 25 teams. Yeah, but B, let me ask you a question. You're an Alabama guy. I don't know everybody wants to give all this love to Mizzou, but Missouri didn't. Their 6 wins in the SEC last year came against teams that were 14-34. Do you really think they're that good? Do you really think Missouri's that good? And how much do you really believe in Ole Miss? Because, I mean, the next time that Lane wins a big game, be the first time.
I've never seen him win a big game.
That's what I
Get
just
popcorn
said.
ready. Get
Listen,
blown
I
out by
like
50.
Lane. I'm a fan of Lane. I'm a fan of Lane Kiffin.
No, he can dial
But-
up an offense. I
But
just
win
don't
the
think he
freaking,
would.
but
I
win
don't
some
think he
games,
takes it
bro.
serious
You
on the
talk a lot of
defensive side
shit
the
and you
ball.
don't win anything. You talk all that shit and you don't win
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah, they do. I think they do. But again, I mean,
think he
7
just
or 8
loads
top
up on
25
offense.
teams. I think I agree with Tennessee. I like Tennessee more than a lot of people do. I'm not the guy that's predicting the downfall of Alabama. I'm not that dude, because I think they got the coach they went after. They wanted Kalen DeBoer. So, and I think that they're going to be another animal on offense. We're going to see a different side of Alabama that you don't always see. But yeah, I don't know.
I'll tell you a team to watch out for.
Yeah. I'm worried about Tennessee, Alabama. Yeah, Auburn maybe because of the road. Yeah, I get it. I don't know but I don't really think that much of Auburn right now.
Listen, Auburn got 4 elite wide receivers last year, the Freeze 4. And Hugh Freeze took over he fired his OC because they fucking suck so bad. Auburn's going to score points this year.
Oh, they are.
No, that's what he said. He was like, yeah, I'm going to call the plays because the offense was terrible. They wouldn't listen to me.
They're getting
and then he took over.
Did you see that Julian Lewis is going there? It sounds like Julian Lewis is going to be at Auburn for sure.
Auburn's going to be a problem. They got their guy.
If they, yeah.
And
yeah,
that guy, like you said, can dial up. He's like Petrino. He can dial it up. We saw it at Liberty.
Yeah, he beat Alabama twice at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Kiffin hadn't done it yet.
He can dial it up.
Yeah.
And he's going out and getting the most explosive wide receivers in
they
the
do
nation.
have the money.
2 years in a row.
Money. Ooh, that must make you sick to your stomach to talk about that, B. Huh?
Who?
To talk about Auburn.
Auburn's going to be – everybody keeps sleeping on Auburn. Everybody's like, oh, yeah, Auburn's an easy win. Their offense is terrible.
I don't know. I think that they're still a year away from being what they should be. I think they're a year away from being a real –
But they could go out.
But they're gonna win some games.
But I tell you what they can do. They can sucker punch somebody.
They're going to freaking win a game. They're going to sneak up on somebody that thought that they weren't going to be very good. It ain't going to be Oklahoma because it's the first year in there. Yeah, I'm sure you do. Everybody hates them. If you're a Bama fan, they same. I get it.
If I'm a Bama fan, I'm ducking.
It is what it is.
I'm worried.
Not as much this year, though. I think, and the thing about Bama is they get them at home this year, and if they were overlooking them, it was last year, and it almost bit them in the ass. Jalen Milroe pulled a rabbit out of the hat there on that last play. What were they doing? They rushed one guy. What the fuck was Auburn doing? They rushed one dude.
Hugh Freeze has took that offense under his own wing, and he has recruited every single player.
No, I'm not, but I still don't like Peyton Thorne.
And I'm telling you, a team that was decently on defense.
They should have got a quarterback, bro.
A team that was decent on defense. A team that was decent on defense.
They were,
and you load them up with the Freeze 4, and they got a couple good running backs.
New Mexico State, Cody. I'm not going to give them that much fucking love. They got blown out by New Mexico State at home. I'm not giving them that much love.
Okay. Well, they're going to sucker punch a lot of teams.
I know they are. I'm just saying.
It's going to be funny, too, because we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to be like,
no,
it's going to be against somebody big. I'm going to be like, didn't I tell you?
I think that they're going to Missouri is not going to – Drink ain't going to do it again. He's not going to do it, even though their schedule's light. But That's the team that they're going to sucker punch. They're going to think
How
they
does
got
that-
Auburn. Auburn's going to smack
That's
their
my
ass.
question.
Fuck them.
This is my
It's
question.
mid-zoo.
Mizzou beat,
Dude, they
does better
they
than
were so lucky to get
expectations.
out of that game with you guys.
So they do better than expectations. How the fuck do they get such an easy schedule?
I don't know. Same with Texas. Good question. Because they've been
But
shit for the last
Florida's
10
trying
years,
to catch
probably.
traction, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're going to give them the hardest schedule ever."
Yeah.
Let's just go ahead and like, how does that
Right.
happen? Like, shouldn't
Well,
it
I
be
think-
something where if the better team should get a little bit harder schedule? Like, we've
I thought
complained
so.
about
Not only did
Georgia
they
and
do it,
Bama all
not
these
only did
years.
they do it for 1 year, but they did it for 2. They were saying that they were going to flop that
Yeah.
schedule. What a lazy
They
move
flopped
by the
it.
SEC.
Yeah, we'll have
Lazy move.
everybody's talking about. Hey, everybody's talking about this year being Florida has the hardest schedule ever.
Yeah.
They have the
Next
hardest
year,
schedule
easier.
ever
Next
with
year's
7
no-
home games.
Yeah. It's not going to be any
With
easier.
7 home games. Wait till next year when those 7 home games are away games.
Uh-huh. Fun.
But Mizzou gets a
Oh,
sub
man. Trash.
par.
Somebody
they
loves
get
them
Vandy,
Drinkowitz for some reason. I
Mississippi
don't know why,
State.
but they like that clown. Drink. What a joke.
He's a goofball too.
Yeah, screw that guy. Can't stand that dude. Don't worry a moment of your life over Mizzou, Spangler says. I agree. I've been saying it. I've been saying it for months now. They talk a lot of shit on Twitter, but it's still mid-freaking zoo. For God's sakes, it's still mid-zoo. I'm not buying it.
Mizzou's more known for a wrestling program than they are a football program. I mean,
Not
god
much
dang.
by there, are they? I mean, it's Missouri, dude. They suck at everything.
Not since Ben Askren. No, not since the Olympian.
Well, I don't know
Ben
about their.
Askren. No,
I
they
don't
haven't
watch
been good.
wrestling, dude. I don't know. Get down, Norman.
Yeah, no, they haven't. I can tell you, they haven't been. I watch it. They haven't been good since Ben Askren, and he was in 2010. So they haven't been good since 2010. So they haven't been good at anything since 2010. It just is what it is. Last 1 year of football, I'll bleep a little blop on the map.
True. Facts. Cody, I gotta get out of here, man.
But they're. I'm out of here too. I gotta go wrangle up them girls and get them all in bed. They're fucking probably destroyed my studio and everything. So
I bet
they were
do.
singing into my microphone earlier.
Awesome.
Yeah, they're playing karaoke with my studio setup. So it's
Well, that's
probably
cool.
jacked. But appreciate you letting me come on again.
Hey, man, it's good to see you again, brother.
A little less hostile.
Yeah, it was. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it much more than last time.
Well,
Appreciate you, bro.
It just shows you
All love,
I care
brother.
for
We
the
were all
program.
good. No explanation needed. We're good. All good, brother.
Yeah,
You
it
already
shows
knew
you
that. And
I
you
care
knew
for my
that shit.
program like you care for yours. Yeah.
Facts. All love, brother.
All right.
Thanks for coming in, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Love the chat, and we'll see you later.
All right, bro. Have a good one. Cody Sprague, the professor from Hop Sports. Appreciate him coming in. Last time he was here, got a little testy in here. But I enjoyed having him back on. He's one of my boys. Guys, I appreciate everybody coming in here, talking about this again. The only thing I could really think to talk about when it came to that was, I was glad to see it, and I had to kind of think through it a little bit whenever I found out about it this morning with BV getting that extension. I think it was a big move on the part of Oklahoma, particularly very strategic going right into the Champ U BBQ this weekend. You've got some important recruits that you're trying to nail down. This is a question that they no longer have. Brent Venables is here to stay. What they do from here on out, I mean, I have nothing but high expectations. I trust in Brent Venables. I believe in him. And it's not just what they've done in the past, but what we're seeing them do now. The way that they're building relationships in that locker room. They're playing the NIL game because you have to play the NIL game. But they're doing it different, folks. They're doing it different. And when you look at, all you got to do is look at SC and what Lincoln is not getting done. And then you look and see what they have gotten done in this short amount of time. And it tells you what the difference is. Oklahoma's in great shape with Brent Venables and his staff. All of them, by the way. I don't want to hear the bashing about Miguel Chavis bashing. Don't do that here. He's recruited unbelievable talent. He's developed talent in a big way with Ethan Downs. The guys that he's brought in are unreal. I mean, it's the same kind of talk that we had to have about Todd Bates until he got his guys, right? It's the same thing. It's crazy talk that we're even having that conversation with some people. Joe John, look, he got Devon Mitchell, folks. That, and, you know, look, he 2026 already got a commit from the 2026 kid. Looks like a stud too. Like him. He looks like he's solid. I don't really worry about 2026 kids because they're freaking way down the line. So I don't really think about them. But I will tell you that I believe in this staff recruiting top to bottom. You look at Emmett Jones. Wow. Pay the guy. I've loved the secondary guys already. Zach Alley looks like he's the real deal. They have a chance to pick up a big time recruit coming up. Look, they're trending to another top 5 and at worst top 10 again right now. And this defense is going to be nasty. We're going to see what they do in year 1. I know we're going to have a hell of a lot of fun. We're going to have a hell of a lot of fun. Year 1 in the SEC, I'm excited about it. I'm glad to see that, you know, look, and look, anytime that you make no mistake, this makes Texas fans shake. They didn't beat them with their best team in 15 years. And now they know he's not going anywhere, and they're not sure what to think about Texas. They're shook. Don't let them lie to you and tell you otherwise. That's why they came in here talking all that mess, because that's what they do. But you know what I say?
The brand has finally returned. F*** your brand.
Guys, I appreciate everybody coming in here and spending a couple hours with me. I didn't really intend to go this long, but I enjoyed it. If you hadn't already hit that like button, please make sure that you jump in there and hit that like, or the dislike if you're a Texas guy that's been hanging around in here bitching. You can do that too. But, you know, hey, jump in there to our official show merchandise shop. Should be at the bottom of the screen anyway. You should be able to find some of that stuff as is. You should check out Mint Mobile. Try mintmobile.com/HOF. But the free way, make sure you like, share. You can become a channel member for as low as $2.99 a month as well. Get into our Discord. We have a lot of fun in there as well. I want to thank everybody, all our channel members and our subscribers. We are, I believe, let's see, just to make sure, we are now 44 away from 3,500 subs. Would love to get to 3,500 over the weekend. Would love to get to 4,000 by the time the season starts. I know we got a little bit of time for that, but I'd appreciate it. You demand $1 for that soundbite. Onikuno, come on, bro. I made you famous. People just keep on. I'll send you $1. I'll send you $1, brother. It's my favorite part of the show is when I say it. I want to throw it again so I can give you $2.
The brand has finally returned. F*** your brand.
Hey, you're gonna have to jump in with me one of these mornings if you got time. If you got time, we'll talk about some of this stuff. But yeah, I appreciate everybody showing up and sticking with me on it. And again, I think that it's very clear that the brand is afraid of OU and what they're going to do under Brent Venables. And perfect timing for OU to do this, to make that move. Loved it. Loved it, loved it, love it. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much, David. I appreciate that. All you guys that were in here. And Sean, welcome in, man. Appreciate you. Spangler, David Chamberlain, B, welcome in. I'm glad to see you here. CW Long, Steele. Let's see. TP. Oh, yeah. I'm going to just call you Gurr. CW, Stephen G, my man. What's up, boys? Sooner Cowboys, Boomer 129, Steel. Hey, man, I appreciate all you guys coming in. House Money Productions, all of our super chatters, we appreciate that as well. Guys, obviously, stink guest cat, Eric Reheard, Stevie Rowland, Bishop Frank as well, and the House Money production guys. Definitely couldn't continue doing this without your support, no doubt about it. So we appreciate all that. Keaton, Jimmy Satterfield, Kim, all you guys, Kyle DePuis, all my boys, Keaton. Appreciate everybody coming in. We'll definitely catch you on the next one.